everyone, and welcome to the Film Yap podcast. I'm Nate Richard, and I am here with Ben Sears. How are you doing today?
Hey Nate, how's it going? Good to see you.
See you. I
Working on very little sleep today,
Yep,
but getting through it.
yeah, that IU game. So
Yeah, that's what we're really here to talk about.
yes, I was telling you beforehand, before we started recording, about my superstition of whenever I pay attention to a sporting team, they lose. So that last half, my the friends I was with, they like, right, keep your head down, look at your phone, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that the curse is over.
Yes. But we're not here for sports. We are here for the Oscar nomination predictions that they drop on Thursday. So that would probably be tomorrow if you're listening to this on if this drops on Wednesday. So it's heating up. It's been a already long award season, and the show isn't even until mid March for
Yep.
God knows why. Um, Kind of one of the reasons why I'm missing South by Southwest this year because I'm like, I don't want to be away from my home as I'm watching.
Fair. Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
So
I don't know why it got pushed back because I feel like last year it was like early March,
it might be
like the
because of the
first
Winter
weekend of March, I
Olympics.
think.
It
So,
might be the Winter Olympics, is what I'm thinking.
oh, right. Well, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
But
Well, yeah, anyway, I don't know about you, but like I this is almost more exciting to me than the when we're right before the actual Oscar ceremony because this is a time when things are wide open, anything is possible. And these fringe contenders, you want to make the case for them, and uh later on it's a little less wide open, and there's less to talk about.
I would I would definitely agree with you just because like the nominations, like there's always like one major surprise too in the acting categories every year, or even in picture. Last year that was I'm Still Here. I was like shocked. There was one movie I hadn't seen when the nominations were rolled out. Um, there was I remember Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway that
Yep.
came out of nowhere. Jesse Buckley for The Lost Daughter. So I wonder if there's going to be something similar this year or not.
Yeah, I mean there's always at least one either in below the line or above the line
Yeah,
category, so that's always exciting. Yeah, I guess we should mention we're not gonna do every single category,
no,
that we would be here forever,
yes,
and we're not gonna do that to everyone. We're just gonna do the quote unquote above the line category. So picture, director, screenplay, and all the acting categories.
yeah,
And then at the end, we're gonna give our last gasp pushes for some fringe contenders that we hope to see.
yeah,
So, should we get started? Well, we
yeah,
can we can start with original screenplay, I guess.
yeah. Let's do it.
All right, what are you thinking?
So I have Sinners, which I pretty much think is going to win at this point. I think that will be its big win for the night anyway. I have It Was Just an Accident. I have Marty Supreme. I have Sentimental Value. And then I have Weapons in there.
Hmm.
But, you know, I've seen some people be like, oh, it didn't get in makeup. And it's like, what does makeup have to do with it? You know?
Yeah, well, I can understand that argument to some extent, but it's not crazy. It is a good screenplay. It's well structured and it's non-linear.
Yep.
Um, I I that would be very cool to see. Um, yeah, I think those first four are pretty much locked and loaded, and
Yeah.
there's very little debate about those. Sinners, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and It Was Just an Accident. I feel like those are pretty safe. But I will say in place of weapons, I'm gonna say it's Blue Moon.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of dialogue. Yes, it's one location, but it's a lot of dialogue. It's a kind of twist on real people and real events. And I can see how that could how that could translate.
Yeah. And then you had a surprise in there as well.
Well, I'm not predicting this for the record, but I think if there is one that could quote unquote surprise, it would be Sorry Baby.
Yeah.
I I just don't know. It's gotten a lot of love from the industry. And I just like I keep flashing back to the Golden Globes when Julia Roberts was up there on stage and was like, "Hey, you people, you've got to see Sorry Baby." And
Yeah.
I just flashed back to like I don't know if you remember I think it was 2022 when Colin Farrell won the Golden Globe for Banshees of Inisherin,
Mm,
and he was up there and he just like randomly shouted out Ana de Armas and told her how much he loved Blonde, and
yeah.
she was kind of another fringe contender. Maybe that's those are totally different circumstances, but she ended up getting that nomination.
I think that makes a lot of sense, especially because there's always one movie that gets a lone screenplay nomination.
Right.
We saw that last year with September 5. So I could be it. I could see it being Sorry Baby. I could also, this wouldn't be a lone screenplay contender, but one that neither of us included was The Secret Agent.
Yep.
I would not be shocked if that makes it in as well, because that seems to be our new international front runner. So,
Right. Yeah, I mean that I definitely could see a world where that happens. If like we talked about it last week, but yeah, the secret agent is kind of surging at the moment. Um, and yeah, that when I think back on it, I think about how great the screenplay is and how kind of layered and uh thematic it is and thematically rich. So
mhm.
um yeah, I think that would not be a crazy prediction. I'm
Yeah,
not brave enough for it though. I think
no.
I'm gonna stick with Blue Moon.
I think weapons or Sorry Baby are probably more likely, and you kind of get made a good case for Sorry Baby. So, but I'm sticking with weapons.
Okay,
I'm in the bag for it.
sure. Nothing wrong with that. All right, well, should we move on to adapted screenplay?
Yes, which both of our predictions completely line up.
Yeah, I think this one is a little easier and has a little less competition.
Yeah,
We both have One Battle After Another, which I think is gonna win pretty
yeah,
safely. Hamnet, Frankenstein, Train Dreams, and Begonia.
yeah. I think the only movie that's kind of on the fringe a little more, even though I think it's a heavier contender than Begonia, is Frankenstein. Just because I don't think even that movie's really a screenplay movie. And then
Right.
you had two movies that you thought maybe, probably not, but maybe, and I had one.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I would say there's a pretty steep drop off between what we think are going to be the nominees, what are the safe nominees, and what are the contenders, what are the fringe, you know, less safe options. I might say No Other Choice, and I might say Hedda. I mean, those are to me, those are really the only ones that feel like they have some passion behind them.
Yeah.
Um, Do you want to talk about what you have in your sixth place?
Yeah. And I only did this because the last two movies in this series also got the lone screenplay nomination, but this movie unfortunately didn't take off as much as the last two, and that's Wake Up Dead Man.
Yep.
Um, I think this movie actually has the best screenplay of all three of the movies. I think I still prefer the first movie, but like early on in the race, I had it in my predictions just because, you
Yeah, so
know,
did I.
yeah.
Yep.
and it kind of breaks my heart to take it out because it is such a good movie. But I don't really see that happening at all. So
Yeah, it kind of seems like Netflix has given up on Wake Up Dead Man. I also had that in there, from the get-go. But yeah, I just don't see the passion behind it. But I mean, it is hard to argue against the last two got in there, and those were their only nominations. So,
yeah,
but I think the difference between those two and this one is those two had some heat between or behind, like Janelle Monáe was a potential
yeah,
supporting actress candidate. It well, it might have been like 11th or 12th place in Best Picture, but it's I feel like there was more buzz in other spaces for those other movies. So that would be my only knock against those. But I mean, no other choice. People love that movie. People love the way that Park Chan-wook writes.
yeah,
I guess he wasn't the sole screenwriter on
no,
that, but you know, yeah. And then Hedda, I just said, I still haven't watched that movie actually, but
me neither.
I have heard nothing but praise for just the way that it was adapted from the stage play. Um, I mean, yeah, like I said, it feels like the other ones, the five that we mentioned are just head and shoulders above these two.
Yeah,
So, uh, what are you gonna do?
yeah,
All right, so let's move right along then. You want to get
yes,
to supporting actress?
yes, which I think is the most interesting category to me this year. Um, So I have Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another, who I think she's kind of the front runner at this point. But I think Amy Madigan for Weapons is not too far behind.
Yep.
Anybody on the awards expert app being like, "You're crazy to say Amy Madigan's getting nominated," eat it. Um, Inga Ipsdotter Lilius for Sentimental Value. I think she's kind of the third place, at least in my opinion. Um, Wenmai Musaku for Sinners, who kind of became a late breaker in contention. And then Odessa Izion for Marty Supreme, who I kind of view as like the Monica Barbaro of
Hmm.
this year. It's very, very similar, where it's like Monica Barbaro had been like she'd been in things. She was in Top Gun Maverick in a like supporting role. She was in that kind of forgettable Netflix show with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like she's been in stuff, but like that was her movie star moment. And so, similar to Odessa Zayon, I think she had a pretty big year with between this and I Love LA. Um, I know she had been in a couple of other things too. She was in the Until Dawn movie, which okay, but I think she's going to break in, especially because I think Marty Supreme is actually going to be a bigger contender than people think.
Yeah. Yeah, I have those five, I think. Well, no, I don't have those five.
Nope.
We share four out of five. Tiana, Amy, Inga, Odessa, and I don't know. I might change this at the last second, but I still have Ariana Grande in there for Wicked, for good. Maybe that's crazy at this point, but I don't know. It just feels weird how I don't know. I still have it getting a couple craft nominations. And I mean, even the people that didn't, well, almost everyone didn't like that movie, but everyone who saw it pretty much said how great Ariana and uh,
Cynthia.
her co-star, whose name has,
Cynthia Erivo.
yes, Cynthia Erivo, thank you, how great both of them were in Wicked for Good, in both of the movies, honestly.
Yeah.
So, and also I wonder how much hangover there's going to be from the first movie for this. So, I don't know. It would not shock me to see Wunmi Masaku in there, especially after she got the actor award nomination. Um, but I think at least for now, until the very last second, maybe I'm keeping Ariana Grande in there.
Okay. And then you had somebody else that you could see potentially being nominated.
I don't know. I have even less faith in this, but Gwyneth Paltrow would not totally surprise me. I heard this mentioned somewhere else. Uh, if you remember Belfast,
Yeah,
from 2021, almost everyone was predicting Katrina Balfe to get a nomination, and then Judi Dench, who is the more household name, kind of leapfrogged her and ended up getting the nomination. So,
that happened in both supporting categories because I remember Jamie Dornan was kind of getting a lot of
right,
heat,
yeah,
and then Kieran Hines came in for
yep.
playing the grandfather. So,
So I don't know. Gwyneth is a more recognizable name. She's more familiar to Academy winners or Academy members. Um, I don't know. I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in it, but uh, I would not be totally shocked to see it.
I mean, they've always liked treating royalty as well, like Hollywood royalty. I remember I just thought of the Fablemans in the supporting actor race. Like people thought, oh yeah, Paul Dano's getting in. He's still
Uh,
never been nominated, probably much to Tarantino's delight. Poor guy. Um, poor Paul Dano, not Quentin Tarantino.
right.
But and then Judd Hirsch got in instead of Paul Dano, so maybe that could happen. Um, who knows?
Yeah. And I for the longest time I had Elle Fanning in here as well. I think that's kind of faded away.
Yeah,
Um, Otherwise, yeah, I think those are probably the only real fringe contenders, the real ones that could quote unquote surprise
yeah.
on Oscar morning.
I
So,
mean, Elle Fanning, as much as I love her as an actress, I don't think she. I think she's definitely outshined by Inga, Renata, and Stellan in that movie. Like as soon as I saw the movie, I'm like, are we really saying this is going to be her first nomination? Because I don't know if the movie is as big of a contender as people think. I just think it's going to get. I wouldn't be shocked even if it goose eggs. Like it gets a ton of nominations. Like it gets in for picture, but it doesn't win anything.
right, yeah, well, yeah, I don't think I would be surprised if it did win at this point
Yeah.
anywhere, but yeah, it'll be fine in terms of nominations, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, unless there's anything else to do in that
I don't think
category,
so.
should we move on to supporting actor?
Yes.
All right, you go ahead for this one.
I think we have the same five, and that's Stellan Skarsgård, and I think it's a tight race between him and Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another. I also have Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, who maybe I don't think he's going to win. I don't know. Maybe if the one thing that I could see happening is Wuthering Heights, like taking off. If that movie becomes a
Hmm,
phenomenon, that could like be good
right.
publicity for him. I have Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. And then in the fifth slot, I have Paul Mescal for Hamnet.
Yep. I have the same. And yeah, I did not have Jacob Elordi in there until the SAG Award nominations. And we don't have BAFTA to go off of yet, but I feel like he's likely to get a nomination
Oh, yeah.
there. Um, yeah, I the only replacement that I had was Adam Sandler, who has again been in my nominations for forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think once Jacob Elordi scored that SAG nomination, that was kind of done and over with, and I took him out as much as it pained me to do.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to love Jay Kelly so much. And I would say the movie to me was Adam Sandler. So I've been rooting for him. I always wanted to see like Academy Award nominee Adam Sandler, and it could still happen. I think he's going to continue trying to do the streak until he finally gets a nomination. Um, but The two ones that I have also, because I know you had mentioned Sandler, were Delroy Lindo for Sinners, which I don't think is going to happen, but
Yeah.
maybe if they really go crazy for Sinners, and then Miles Caton also for Sinners, only because of the SAG nomination that he got over Delroy Lindo, which was kind of a surprise. But I mean, at the same time, the Academy has a weird bias against the male like actors who are young.
Hmm.
They've nominated like young actresses in the past who are, on the rise. They gave Mikey Madison the win last year in lead. But I mean, I look at like Dominic Sessa in the holdovers. Like he missed.
Yeah.
There's a couple other ones that I am completely blanking on, but like I don't see that happening with Miles Caton, unfortunately. But I wouldn't be like totally shocked either.
Yeah, no, I mean it would be really cool if he did get in. Yeah. I definitely hear what you're saying about them kind of being afraid of younger performers. So, um, I think, if either one of them surprises and gets a BAFTA nomination, then we can talk. But, for the uninitiated, BAFTA has I guess we should say a long and troubling history with black actors, and uh,
Denzel even ever nominated,
I am pretty sure he has not.
which is
Um,
why I don't pay attention to the BAFTAs. Anytime somebody's like, "Oh, BAFTAs are great," I'm like, "No." Like probably the best living actor who's working consistently has never even been nominated.
yeah,
So mess me with that BAFTA.
yeah, and um, yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
I could
Um,
go on all day about that.
Yeah, so I think, like I said, if by some miracle one of them gets in at BAFTA, then it's a different story, but we won't have that until after the Oscar nominations. So I guess this is all we have to go on right now, but
Yeah.
um yeah, I don't think there's really too many other supporting contenders that would really be worth talking about. I mean, unless you want to be super optimistic like me and say William H. Macy for Train Dreams. I mean, as great and as cool as that
Yeah.
would be, I'm not gonna bet my mortgage on it.
Or, for me, I guess because Netflix can't paint him supporting, but Josh O'Connor for Wake Up Dead Man, I think he's incredible in that movie.
Sure.
And I mean, it's just too stacked of a race. I mean, I would easily put him over Mescal because I think Mescal is the only one who's kind of a little bit more at risk. And if he misses, I think it would be Sandler in his place, just
Okay.
because Sandler has been, I think, campaigning even heavier than Mescal has. Mescal's busy being Paul McCartney right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, every year it seems like there's at least one actor or actress in at least one of the categories who is around in every nomination, Golden Globes and SAG and BAFTA and all of that, and never really feels like they're in the conversation for winning. And
mm,
unfortunately, I feel like that's Paul Mescal this year. Um, so it wouldn't totally shock me to see if him miss, but um, I don't know. I just feel like Hamnet is strong in other areas as well. So I still feel like he's pretty safe.
yeah, I mean, I don't even think he's the best supporting actor in that movie. I think I'll die on the hill of Jacoby Jupe. Like, give
Yeah.
him the respect
Speaking
he
of
deserves.
biases against younger actors, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we could move on unless you
Ooh, I
have any more.
forgot. The other actor that missed was Jacob Tremblay for Room,
Right. Yeah.
which he's kind of a mainstay now. He's kind of doing different. He's a lot of like voice work now, but like I think, was another big one where it was like young actor completely just missed.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure we could come up with another
Yeah,
20 or so if we had the time, but
yeah,
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's more common that they do miss than when they don't.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess to move on to a little safer category,
I think
let's
this is
do
the easiest
Best
one.
Actor, which again we both share the same mind on this one. We both have Timothy Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leo for One Battle After Another, Wagner Moura for His Secret Agent, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. And
Yeah.
again, just kind of like what I was talking about with adapted screenplay, it feels like the drop off between these five and the next five or seven is pretty big.
It's so funny how obvious this category has become after like early on in the race, like when with the early predictions, it was completely different than this. I
Yeah,
think the only one that was like consistent was Timothy Chalamet because Academy has a thing where they've missed DiCaprio for like some of his like better performances. They snubbed him for Killers of the Flower Moon. They snubbed him for I thought he was the best part. I mean, I'll my thoughts on Don't Look Up. I have defended that movie a lot. I mean, I was shocked he wasn't nominated for that, but
yeah,
he has become a big contender. He's probably Timmy's biggest competition. But before it was like Timothy Chalamet, Jeremy Allen White for Springsteen, which still haven't seen. I know that movie went nowhere, um, where it was delivered from as well.
you
It
you beat me to it.
yes, it was Dwayne the Rock Johnson
Yep,
for the Smashing Machine, and then I feel like a lot of people had like George Clooney as
Brendan
well for Jay
Fraser.
Kelly, and who?
Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Yep, for Rental Family.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that as well. And yeah, these other movies, Secret Agent and Blue Moon have just come on so strong that it's kind of solidified them, not to mention they were in Golden Globes and SAG. So yeah, I think really the closest to, beating, well, who do you think is most vulnerable out of these
Ethan
five?
Hawke.
Would you say it would be Michael B. Jordan or Ethan Hawke?
I think it's Ethan Hawke who's the most vulnerable, but he also has Sony Pictures Classics on his side, who,
This is true. They are the campaign masters for the uninitiated.
and I mean, maybe that happens with like Sinners, what happened to Margot Robbie in Barbie, where she completely
Sure.
misses. But at the same time, I don't see any possibility where Kugler misses. We'll get we'll get to that later.
Oh boy.
Um, but I mean, the one actor who you have written down, but like I'm so passionate about this performance is Jesse Plemons in Begonia. It's like, what
Yep.
happened? He
You
was
know, I
so good. He's so good in that movie.
and he's a former nominee.
Yeah.
So, whereas Ethan Hawke never been nominated.
No, he
So,
has. He was nominated Training Day and Boyhood.
huh, really?
Yep.
Okay. Give
I
me
don't
a
think
second to verify that, but I kind of want to say he's never been nominated.
I don't think in this category he has,
Okay.
but in supporting he has because I
Okay. Never mind. My apologies. He's got granted, this is from the Google AI overview.
oh
He's
god.
got four Oscar nominations, two for uh Training Day and Boyhood, and then he's got two for co-writing Before Sunset and Before Midnight.
Yeah.
So,
I
okay.
think the
My
reason you got
apologies.
confused was when he was snubbed for First Reformed because he
That's
was kind
right.
of a dark horse contender in that. But
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, Jesse Plemons and Joel Edgerton is the only other one that I would consider beating them out. But, I think I would put Jesse Plemons above Joel Edgerton just because Edgerton, as great as he is in that movie, I love Train Dreams.
yeah,
That's a very like subdued and quiet performance, and that kind just doesn't normally get nominated
No.
outside of like Paul Mescal for After Sun.
And
But
that was a weak category that year because
right,
that was really, it was just between like three people that we knew automatically were going to get in, which was Brendan Fraser, Austin Butler, and Colin Farrell. And then it was
yeah,
just like Bill Nye, and then Paul Mescal got it. But I remember people were saying, it's like, could Tom Cruise get in for Top Gun Maverick? He
yeah,
didn't, but
that was
oh well.
that was another year when Sandler was in contention for Hustle.
Yep.
I It broke my heart because I thought that was a great
So
performance.
good. He's so
But
good in that movie.
yeah,
I
yeah, I think this one is pretty cut and dry, which maybe doesn't make for the most exciting
no,
podcasting, but I mean, what are you gonna do? We're not crazy here.
no.
All right, let's move along and we can talk about Best Actress.
Yeah.
Um this one I maybe this has a little bit less wiggle room, but again, we have the same five.
Oh yeah.
Um, Jesse Buckley for Hamnet, Rose
Hmm.
Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Renata Reinsva for Sentimental Value, Chase Finney for One Battle After Another, and Emma Stone for Begonia.
Yeah. It's funny that because usually it best actors kind of like Baron or there's one contender versus I feel like this year best actress it's just like it's a given. This is Buckley's year.
Yeah,
And I feel like this is kind of her like Jennifer Lawrence, Brie Larson, Alicia Vikander kind of moment where she's already leading The Bride, which is coming out like a few weeks before the ceremony. I have no
yeah.
clue how that movie's going to be. I don't think it will be her Borat, but maybe it could. Not Borat, Norbit.
Okay.
Not Borat,
I
Norbit.
wasn't sure what you meant by that, but yeah, I gotta say I'm excited for it for the
I
record.
am too.
Um, Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jesse Buckley has kind of got this one in the bag. Rose Byrne, I feel like, is a pretty safe number two.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how Emma Stone feels pretty set in, no pun intended, set in stone, but there's really nobody that is passionately talking about that performance.
It's so weird because I feel like Jesse Plemons gives the performance that movie, he carries it. And I feel like even like Emma Stone has like talked about that. She's not
Yeah.
like aggressively campaigning for it either. And I mean, I think it's just because
Okay.
she's a two-time Oscar winner and she's still so young in her career.
Right.
Um,
And I will say she's great in that movie.
yeah,
But I don't know if I'd call it like one of her best performances.
no. I mean,
Um,
I vastly prefer Begonia over Poor Things. I mean, she was deserving of her win in Poor Things. Like, I can't really like bet against that, you know.
Here.
I think this one though isn't as set in stone. I did it again.
It's
Because
unavoidable.
Chase Infinity, we just talked about young actors again.
Yeah,
I don't know. And I think for a while people were like Amanda Seyfried. No, Anne Lee is kind of dead. And I mean, Amanda Seyfried's campaign skills are just so great because she's just like, I don't care if I'm nominated. She's just like, I just like doing this is for the art. And I'm like, hell yeah. Continue commenting, making based Instagram comments and everything.
sure.
But and make the housemaid too. I don't know. But I think Kate Hudson, who you have written down, I think she could possibly get in over Infinity. And I mean, that's mainly because, again, they have a bias against young actors.
Sure.
And I mean, Timothy Chalamet and Call Me By Your Name, I feel like that was a little bit different because, like, he had already been starting working. He was in
Yeah.
Interstellar and everything. Chase Infinity was only in one other movie or TV show before this, which was
Last year, Innocent. Or not
it's
last year, but the year before. Yeah.
yeah,
Presumed
which
Innocent, where she was like very low on the totem pole. Uh,
Yeah.
which that reminds me, she was in that show with Renata Reinsve.
Oh
So
yeah, she was. She was. But
yeah,
that's the only one I'm
I
iffy on.
I hear what you're saying. And yeah, I think Kate Hudson is kind of the clear number six, at least for me. Um, I've seen a lot of people put her in over Chase Infinity, and I don't know. I just don't feel like there's any passion behind Song Sung Blue. There's people that really dislike that movie. There's people that really like it, for the record.
Yep.
I don't know off the top of my head how it's doing at the box office, but
It's doing fine.
I mean,
Um,
Chase Infinity is kind of the co-lead of the Best Picture frontrunner. So
yeah.
I I don't want to argue against that.
I think the only thing that's going against her is the fact that even though I think supporting actress is a super stack category, the fact that she's in lead and she's a
Mm.
co-lead, is she a co-lead or is she not? Like, it's
Yeah,
weird.
it's one of those situations where either one makes sense to me. I
Yeah.
mean, she her journey throughout the after the prologue of that movie is it's her journey for the most
Yeah.
part. Um, and she is, it's a real Star is Born kind of moment.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if anyone here is vulnerable, it would be Emma Stone for the reasons that we talked about.
Yeah.
I don't know how hard she's campaigning for herself. Um, and like I said, I just don't know how many people are super passionate about that performance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I can see that. And you do make a good point because it's like, I think you really love Begonia as well, didn't you?
it was good. I didn't dislike it.
Okay.
I kind of think that I feel the same way as you do about Yorgos Lanthimos.
Mm,
I like his movies. I wasn't as big of a fan as most other people were about Poor Things.
yeah.
I think it went on maybe 20 minutes too long. Other than that, I liked it. And you know, I feel like I was the only one that liked Kinds of Kindness last year.
Yep. That
So
was one that I preferred that over Poor Things. And I'm like, why am I uh,
so yeah, I liked Begonia. I guess my biggest thing is that I saw it too late in the award season. If I would have
mm,
seen it earlier, like in theaters, then it'd be a different story maybe. But um, yeah, I don't feel great about putting Kate Hudson in over anyone, but it would not totally shock me to hear her name called.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, because it's like Kate Hudson hasn't even been nominated since Almost Famous. And it's like
Right.
this is almost like her comeback because it's like she mainly does like streaming
Rom-coms
shows.
and comedies. Yeah.
Like I love her. She's kind of having she almost had like a McConaughey period after Almost Famous, where it was just like some movies, even with Matthew McConaughey, that were just
Uh-huh.
not great. And then she started having like supporting roles again that were really good. Like Deepwater Horizon, I always look back on because she was given the wife at home role, but she like
Mm.
made it. Like she made an impression on me in that movie. Um, but Glass Onion, I thought she was absolutely hysterical in that movie.
Same. Yep.
Um, I thought she was just as great as Janelle Monáe. I thought they both should have been nominated that year. They weren't. But
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. I think there's a lot of like Song Song Blue is kind of boomer Gen X core.
This is
Uh,
true.
Not to sound like ageist or anything. Like I watched Song Song Blue with my parents. They absolutely ate that movie up. And even my dad going in, he's like, I love Neil Diamond, but he's like, is this gonna even be any good? And then he also really loved it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a movie that the older members of the Academy probably really, love.
Yeah. Yeah, and as much as everyone likes to talk about how the Academy has gotten more global and more international in recent years, there is still that boomer population
Yeah.
who prefers movies like Song Sung Blue and the more traditional Oscar Oscar bait quote unquote movies and performances. So I don't know. I'm not brave enough to put her in, but I don't know. I can't totally begrudge someone who does.
See, like even today, as I was looking at my awards expert app, and I'm like, do I want to put in Kate Hudson? Do I not? I saw a lot of like people I follow had put in Kate Hudson. I saw somebody put her as high as number two. I don't think she's that high, um,
Hmm.
especially because she would be a lone nominee. Um,
Yeah.
who
Yep,
knows?
exactly. Yeah, I guess for the record, I'm on Gold Derby right now. They have Rose, Jesse, Renata, Emma, and Chase as the top
Okay.
five. And Kate Hudson is number six.
Okay. I was about
So
to say, if it's still Amanda Seyfried, I'm like, no.
well, yeah, I guess we now this next one is definitely going to be more contentious and more conversation around, and that's
Yeah.
Best Director. Do you want to say who you have?
Yeah, I think the only two things I feel confident in is I have Paul Thomas Anderson. We both have Paul Thomas Anderson through one battle after another. I think he's winning. He's a lock. But then I have Ryan Coogler. Oh, we have the same five, actually.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So we also have Ryan Coogler, Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, and Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value. But there's like three other contenders that I could see sneaking in there as well, very, very
Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah,
Um,
we talked about this last week with the DGA nominations and this, you know, yes, PTA and Chloe Zhao, at least to me, seem like the most safe.
mhm.
Um, but there's also Guillermo del Toro. You have Kleber Mendoza Filho for The Secret Agent
Yeah,
and Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident. None of those would totally surprise me.
I think especially because the director's branch is kind of like the most arch. I feel like they're the most like the stigma that some people have towards the Oscars, where it's like they only do like super small films that are
That
you
nobody's ever
can't
heard of. Right.
yeah, that you have to drive out, long to see. This is the category that snubbed Greta Gerwig that I will once again bring up that uh, Hillary Clinton just for some reason thought that was important enough to bring up. Um, this is the same category that left out Edward Berger last year for Conclave
Yep.
because that was his transition to more like American movies. And I guess they didn't like that. Um, but they're so weird because like James Mangold was nominated in his place last year, and it was like I didn't expect that, but they've done this so many times, before. I think Thomas Vinterberg for another round back in 2021. Powell Pulowski for Cold War, he got
Yep.
in. Ruben Ostlund for Triangle of Sadness after winning the Palme d'Or. Um, I think there's a couple other Justine Treat for Anatomy of a Fall.
Right.
And like Jafar Bahani did win the poem.
Yep.
So I could see him sneaking in, but like I feel like the secret agent has kind of overtaken that. But then at the same time, I don't know if the secret agent is going to get in. Like Philo, I can't. I'm not gonna look like a um, ignorant trying to pronounce his whole name. I can't. Um, I don't I
You
don't know. He's not like known enough. I feel like he's
yeah, you mentioned Edward Berger a minute ago, and that gave me flashbacks. All Quiet on the Western Front got a million
Yeah.
nominations, and he was kind of an unknown entity at that point. He did not get a Best Director nomination. So I think that would be very shocking to me if he got in. I think Panahi and Del Toro are above him in terms of contention. Um, yeah, I think, Safdie to me feels vulnerable. Um,
Yeah.
and I really only say that because, I mean, they've, I don't know. That film is so kind of prickly. I can see, like we said, the boomers, rebelling against it.
Yeah.
And, this branch is one that is becoming more and more international in recent years. With like Justine Triet and all those other foreign filmmakers getting nominations here. So
I will
I would
say
love to see Safdie get a nomination, but I worry that he might miss out.
I will say with Marty Supreme, because I remember when we saw that at the screening, like I talked with Chris, I talked with you, talked with some others about, I'm like, oh, this might be like another like divisive movie like Uncut Gems. But like I've talked to like people like, family friends or people like that who saw Marty Supreme who I did not expect to like it. I thought they would be like, that was horrible. I wanted to like, you know, shove my head into a wall or whatever. And like
Yeah.
they ended up liking the movie. They didn't love it, but they like liked it. So the movie's a big hit as well. So I don't know.
Um,
The one I've been battling with so long is Joachim Trier,
yeah.
but he just fits that art house international contingent, I think, very well. But I think to me, he's the most vulnerable right now. And I think Jafar Bahani would probably be the one that would step in, but I don't know. It could be Del Toro.
I, you know, I, you know what? I'm gonna take Safdie out and I'm gonna put in Jafar Panahi. I just, he is a beloved auteur around the world. He has been in the news recently about, with his arrest in Iran. Um, I I think when people think of that movie, they think of the way that it was directed.
Yeah.
So I feel okay with moving him in there. Um,
Yeah.
Before we move on too far, I do want to. I was reminded. I came across this TikTok the other day of someone who went to see Marty Supreme, and go figure they filmed the screen and during the movie, and
Classic.
I commented and raked them over the coals for it. But
Hell yeah.
I I screenshotted a couple of the comments, and if you want to get kind of an idea of where the kids these days think of Marty Supreme, one of them says, "I really thought it was about to be a feel-good sports movie,"
Uh,
and one of them said, "I thought I was going to leave inspired to chase my dreams," and
yeah.
I don't know. You can, if that's how the kids are feeling, then
I think
then who knows what the boomers are feeling.
the first trailer though really mismarketed it because I my sister and her boyfriend went to see the movie and my sister's like, it's a kind of like a sports like inspirational because the first trailer was set to Forever Young and it was like kind of
I I think whoever thought that must not have been totally familiar with the Safdie brothers
yeah.
and their kind of brand.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think there's a lot of people who just see that trailer who aren't as cinephiles but love Timothy Chalamet and see the Forever Young trailer and they're like, oh, this is like an inspirational sports movie. My sister's like, is it more like Queen's Gambit? Because she, had problems. I'm like, not really, no.
yeah. Yeah, um so my predictions have changed. PTA, Kugler, Chloe Zhao, Jafar Panahi, and Joachim Trier. I do, I mentioned this last week with Ryan Coogler. I'm still a little bit worried about him, and this branch's kind of proclivities towards shunning box office or
Yeah.
blockbusters. I don't
Yeah.
know. Can you talk me off of that ledge?
I it's just because yeah, this branch is like the most pretentious of them. Like it is what the TikTok comments, say where they're like, oh, they only watch like movies that you have to drive an app 2 hours away to a small indie theater at a, you know, deep in the city to go see this movie. They always do that.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I would hope but I think Sinners is such a contender. I would not be shocked if it's the movie that even gets the most nominations, even over One Battle After Another. Um, just because it has like the song category as well. It has,
sure.
production design. Like it has all of that where I don't think Coogler could miss. I think he's too much of a staple. He's had films that have gotten in before for picture, but so did Gerwig. But at the same time, I'm like, I think that movie is. But so was Barbie.
Yeah.
Dang it, you have me down. I don't think I.
And and if he's replaced by anyone, I think it would be Del Toro. And we've talked about how much the industry loves him. And I don't know, that makes me nervous.
But I think I'm still pretty confident that he's getting in. I actually think the one that you seem very confident getting in is Chloe Zhao. I think
Mm,
could be vulnerable. This branch has a problem with female directors. We know that.
true.
And this isn't the. It was made overseas, but it's an American, movie. Her
Sure.
last movie was a Marvel movie that was.
That I liked for the record.
I kind of forget most of what happened in that movie.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I just remember Brian Tyree Henry helped create the atom bomb,
Yep.
and
That
then
happened.
Richard Madden flew into the sun. That's Harry Styles. Yep, that's kind of it.
Oh boy.
But like, I think she could miss, and I could see that causing a bit of a stir. It will
Oh yeah.
inevitably, but I think a bigger stir would be caused if Kugler misses.
Yes, absolutely.
Because anybody, if like Kugler gets in and Zhao doesn't, it's like, are you gonna bet against Ryan Coogler? Like, Sinners had a big impact filmmaking wise. Hollywood loves it. Box office
Yeah.
wise, audiences loved it.
Yep.
And like Barbie did have the thing where it was based on IP. It was a completely original take, but it was IP. It was the Barbie movie.
Right.
Joseph Kaczynski for Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun, one of the most famous 80s movies. So it had the IP draw on it. Sinners does not.
Yeah.
Sinners is not Black Panther 3. It's
Right.
its own thing that felt prestige. And Kugler just, even in the, he's been campaigning like hard. Like he's appeared on so many like podcasts recently. I
Yeah.
mean, some of these like stars who are like campaigning, like I would not be shocked if Kugler ends up, I see like a clip on my like threads feed of Ryan Coogler talking to Joe Rogan. I wouldn't
Uh-huh.
be shocked at this point if that happens.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I mean, I think he's really staying prominent, and the fact that he's shot on film and everything, that's going to bolster him.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And again, I'm still he's still in my five, so uh I still have confidence in it, but it's
Yeah.
shaky confidence.
Yeah. Do we
All
want to move
right.
on
Well,
to picture?
yeah.
Do we
Speaking
have?
of confidence, why don't you go ahead on this one?
I think we have the same 10.
I think so, yeah.
So I have One Battle After Another as number one. I think that's probably going to win picture. But I have Sinners as well at number two. I remember before One Battle, that was a movie that everyone called me crazy for saying, I'm like, maybe this will be the winner. Because I kept thinking of Everything Everywhere all at once. And I feel like Sinners even had a more of a following. It did. I think it's more accessible. Like it's a movie that can appeal to like an older audience as well. Then I have Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Frankenstein, The Secret Agent, which I resisted for putting in for so long, Sentimental Value, Begonia, Train Dreams, and it was just an accident. I've resisted for so long of putting three Neon movies. I'm like, no studio can do that. They're not getting four movies in. There's people being like, oh, no other choice could still get in. And would I personally have no other choice in? Yes, I love that movie so much, but it's not getting in.
No, no. And when I looked at, what other ones might get in here, these felt more assured to me,
Yeah.
very much so. Um, yeah, I think really the only one of these here to me that feels vulnerable would be the secret agent. And
Oh,
that's, I don't know.
I
Well,
I think I've seen on even like the Oscar race subreddit, I see people be like, what Brazilian film is coming next year? I'm like, that's not
yeah,
how that works. They're like, oh, this. And I'm like, that does not seem like an Oscar. Secret Agent, I don't know if this is going to keep getting Brazil entries or not, but I think Secret Agent is so much about like film as well, or it
yeah.
helps it. But one of the reasons why I want to retry it is I keep seeing the director talking about his love of Jaws, and I'm like, my boy. So
Well, I think for me, the secret agent is most vulnerable because the other ones that are slightly uh less vulnerable, Train Dreams, Begonia, and it was just an accident. Those all feel pretty safe in a lot of other categories. Begonia, I have it in uh, actress and supporting or adapted screenplay, and I don't know, maybe a below the line craft category or two. Um,
I could see editing.
Train, what's that?
I could see editing.
Right, yeah. Train Dreams, adapted screenplay, cinematography.
Yeah,
Uh, I think that might be it, but it was just an accident. We just talked as a contender as a director nominee, original screenplay, international feature. But like Secret Agent, I just have it in international and best actor in Wagner Moura. And I mean, yeah, those are both pretty good nominations to support that, but I don't know. So for the record, the only other ones that I could see possibly sneaking in there would be F1 and Weapons. F1 got the PGA nomination, and so did Weapons. But F1, I currently have it as like editing, sound, um, visual effects, possibly score. It's Hans Zimmer.
yeah.
You know,
Editing. Did you say editing?
right, yes. And we'll talk about this in a minute, but cinematography, I think it's possible.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Plus, it made a ton of money.
it
It's
did.
Apple's really only horse in the race. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna bet the farm on it, but would it shock me? Not really.
Still feel like I don't know. You also have weapons down, and like weapons is one that I don't know if it would shock me that much if I already have it in for screenplay and supporting
Yeah.
actress. And if it gets those, I think the big thing when the nominations are announced Thursday morning is if it gets in for casting. If it
Yep.
gets in for casting, I think that's it. It's in for picture.
That is that is the wild card. Yeah. Um,
Versus F1, I don't know. I feel like it would have shown up just everywhere at all of the precursors because it's blockbuster.
well, I,
Maybe.
I don't know where else it would have, it
Yeah, that's true.
it's not really an acting thing. There's not really any tech categories at the Golden Globes.
That's true.
Um, did it get a score nomination at Golden
Yeah,
Globes? I kind of
it
want to say
did.
it did. So,
It did.
and
That's
it's
true.
possible it could get a song nomination too. It's kind of contending. There's an Ed Sheeran song.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It's
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just see it kind of being, and this is a completely different movie, but kind of like Nosferatu, where it just gets like 5 or 6 nominations below the line.
sure.
But who knows? I don't know. And I
Yeah.
think Weapons, the reason why is Nosferatu, I think, was pretty close to actually getting in when none of us really expected it to. So,
Yeah.
got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the risk of talking all day on this, I think we're pretty settled on our nominations overall. I mean, maybe we'll do an emergency pod if we have to have a last minute change of heart, but
Yeah.
I I think to end this we can give our two we decided on two other contenders that aren't totally out of the race in their categories,
One
but
is that I
a
picked.
little bit of hopeful predicting. But yeah, we can kind of trade off and give our two. If you want to get that kicked off, go ahead.
I will start with my kind of controversial one because it did not make the short list in this category, but it's just, I need to talk about Warfare.
Yep.
It used to be every year there was a military movie, they got a sound nomination, especially when it was in 2 different categories. It was sound editing and sound mixing. Like we saw like 13 Hours and Lone Survivor get in. And like Warfare has some of the best sound I've ever like heard, almost had seen in a movie. Like it takes you there
Yep.
so much. And it's just like Civil War was when that came out, which it makes it feel like a horror movie.
Yep.
That's what it did for Warfare. And it's just like I will campaign to that for that movie to my dying day. Like that sound was incredible. This was just a good year for sound in general in film. F1 as well. 28 years later, I thought had great sound. Weapons had great sound. You
Yep.
know, yeah, but
Yeah,
alas,
I was really sad to not see Warfare on the short list. 'Cause yeah, I still remember seeing that in the theater and just kind of being blown away by how loud it was. And that was always kind of the go-to thing when it came to predicting the sound categories was what's the loudest, what has the most gunfire, and what has the most explosions. So
what carries the stars and stripes?
yeah, really. Um, so that was a big bummer. I know people, it's not super sexy to get up in arms about the best sound category, but it's, just like you said, like with Civil War, that was a pretty egregious miss for both of those. So
Yeah,
I fully support that. That is a good call out there.
thank you.
So my first one, I think this is kind of on the fringes. I don't think it's totally safe, but it's not totally out. And that's sentimental value in the new category, best casting. Um, we don't totally know what the criteria is going to be for this category. We don't know what they're going to value, whether it's, just the sheer number of performances from recognizable actors, the scope of the ensemble, like a discovery of a new talent. But I think for me, this one has, I mean, it doesn't have a big cast, but it has the discovery with Inga.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a movie
it's
about
just
casting.
utilized. What's that?
It's a movie about casting.
Exactly. Yeah. Part of that movie is about finding the perfect actor for a role. So that's my push there. I would love to see it get a nomination there.
It has such a good, even like Corey Michael Smith shows up like in the background in like 2 scenes. Love
Right?
that
Yeah.
guy. I think he's kind of on the verge of becoming huge this year. He has a couple of movies, but for time's sake, I will digress. My other one is an actor who is in a movie that became more polarizing than I expected it to. And it kind of just went under the radar, but I loved it. I know you loved it, and that's Will Arnett for Is This Thing On? Um, I thought he was absolutely phenomenal in this movie. He really sells, like, he has a comedy background, but the fact that he can sell that like awkwardness of taking the stage and how the movie really zooms in on his face so much in that movie. And it's like, I don't know if I should be liking this guy or not. He's, kind of using his own like marriage problems, kind of putting his wife, but you still did kind of like, I just thought he was so good in this movie. I'm just a big Will Arnett fan in general. BoJack Horseman, Lego Batman, Hot
Right.
Rod, the babe scene. But yeah,
Yeah, I remember after I saw that movie and I looked through his filmography and like I was kind of surprised how few on-screen dramatic roles he's had.
yeah,
I think the closest has was his voice for performance in BoJack
yeah,
Horseman. So to see him hit this mode was very surprising to me and very unexpected, and I loved his performance.
so good.
I mean, we could do a whole episode about what happened with the Fox Searchlight slate this year, but
Yeah,
it kind of surprised me how much Is This Thing On just didn't happen.
yeah.
You know, that's a good call out.
Thank you.
So I guess my last one, again, this one is kind of on the fringes, not totally out, not totally in, and it's F1 for cinematography, Claudio Miranda, the cinematographer. Notably, he did not get a nomination for Top Gun Maverick,
Just BS.
and he's kind of doing the same thing in this movie as well. Um, but it's just so well done. I mean, the way that they were able to put those cameras the in the race cars and uh, just make so many unique shots and film all those racing sequences where you really felt like you were in the moment
Yeah,
just can't be overstated how impressive that was.
that movie. It just even like there's some movies that look that aesthetically great that it's like you can only see that, but rewatching it, I even rewatched the on my good TV in my living room. It still looked like incredible. I mean, in the theater
Yeah.
was the best way to see, but like a movie that can still hold up on rewatches, like a big cinematic movie, I think that's a sign of like cinematography. Because as much as I'll ride on the Avatar movies, I cannot watch those movies at home.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I'm looking at Gold Derby right now. They have F1 in seventh place, right below Marty Supreme. So um, I don't know how confident I would be to move him in my nominations, but I would love to see it happen.
Yeah, me too.
Very cool. Well, yeah, I think that'll do it for us this
Yeah,
week. I think next week, I don't know when we'll do it. Maybe sooner than later, but
I think so.
either way, next time we'll talk about our reactions to the Oscar nominations and give our kind of gut check, and maybe we can reference this episode and see and laugh at ourselves at how wrong we were.
Or right. Maybe we're
Yeah,
both like completely right.
sure. Yeah. We'll see. It's going to be interesting, and I'm excited for it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you again, Nate.
Thank
This was
you.
fun. Looking forward to the next time. Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.